I found video of people from 10 different countries in Asia speaking English, but can you guess what country they're from just from their English accent?
From Taiwan. And it's here. It's very Singaporean. She must be from Singapore.
As a huge language fan, this is one of my favorite games to play, guessing someone's country from their accent. And so in this video, we are heading to Asia, where I spent years of my life and where you've got 2,300 living languages to guess from. Good luck, guesses in the comments.
What I did is write a paper like I'm very beautiful like that and stick it in the back. Yeah. And then she will walk around and she have no idea that she have a funny note on her back like that. So yeah, that's very fun experience during high school.
This is such a sweet accent. It's so gentle and animated. And when they speak English, it's like something out of early 20th century America.
Hello, folks. How you feel? Good this morning? Hope you do.
They use old-fashioned grammar. For example, instead of saying, I will go, they might say, I will be the one who will go. And did you catch that vaguely Spanish lilt?
For what I think, they should do more practice and then, what else?
For the government, of course, they should help the athletes too. Like giving them support.
The biggest mystery is why they don't just speak Spanish. They got 333 years of Spanish schooling, but then this army ship came along carrying 600 American teachers, and to this day, the schools model American education. But how about those native languages? What even are these?
Kapag may ganito kang gamit na microphone, kaya pwedeng-pwede to kapag nagla-live ka.
Make no mistake, these languages get freely mixed into their English. You probably know what this is now. It is the Filipino accent. Aren't I nice starting you off with something so easy?
My favorite food would be a steak. Love a good steak. Potatoes, veggies, the whole works.
This is a stunning region with waterfalls, jungles, temples, elephants, and mind-blowing beaches. And we even got the word anaconda from them. But unlike many other Asian countries, their accent in English is different from both British and their own neighbours. And they seem to love their humour, because that's all I could find in about 3 days of searching.
Yeah, where are you going? Who are you going with? What time will you be home? Who is driving? Have you gone to the toilet? I'll tell you a good one. Oh yeah, have you heard about that fellow? I'll tell you another thing. Apparently, that one is carrying on with the other one.
English was the main language of education once, but then along came the infamous native tongue only policy, and suddenly English was dropped. It has made a major comeback though, as you can tell from these expressions, but it's still hard for them to emphasize the right part of a word. Their English is also full of loan words from Hindi, Malay, Tamil, Arabic, Dutch, Portuguese, and one other language in particular, a language that is not spoken anywhere else. And if you haven't already guessed, here is your last lovely hint.
It doesn't matter if you don't like it here. You're in uni. What are you going to do? Go home? No. You're going to suck it up. You're going to find something to love about it.
The mystery language is Sinhalese, because we are in Sri Lanka. You didn't guess India, did you?
But it is in manhand.
In Manhattan.
If you want, you can make your happy life and you can make rubbish life.
Rubbish life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Life is with parents. Without parents, life nothing.
It's a treasure trove of colours and flavours and interesting languages. 77 of them last time I checked. It's also the land of one of the world's oldest civilizations, and if you run out of cash while climbing in the snowy mountains, not to worry, here's a handy ATM for you. Their way of speaking English is a little different from what we've heard so far. It's not just the pronunciation, they've come up with their own special way of expressing things. For example, you don't do something 3 times, you do it thrice. Sounds familiar. And if someone calls you uncle or auntie, well, you're probably not as young as you think. And as for your cousin sister, well, you can work it out.
Where is 2 men? 2 men, where is?
कौन से 2 आदमी?
2 men, my garden kameez and they're eating with me. 2 men fighting, me, 1 man.
Well, that doesn't sound like a fair fight. Check out these entirely new English words for things. Very interesting. Funny thing is, British English was here even before the country was created. If you know your history and your accents, it's a no-brainer. The spicy flavour is from Pakistan. And if you know your YouTube, well, please like and subscribe, because you know I'm on a mission to bring you only the best. And please don't click only twice, you've got to click thrice.
First of all, congratulations on all your effort. You made it through. Learning grammar is the most boring and the tough stage, I guess. You know, there are so many things that you have to remember.
I learned that even though you can't speak speak their language, you guys can still communicate and make friends.
I love this accent. It is so endearing and it has a very characteristic rhythm that comes straight from their own language and culture. And how English got here is a fascinating story. But first, I think those guys were too good at English. Can we try again?
Refrigerator.
Yeah, there's that famous problem with the R, but it's not their fault. There are no R sounds in their own language. In fact, everything about it is completely different from English. It's a very difficult language combination.
I don't have to speak any English, but if you see around, you see a bunch of like foreigners and then tourists, and it's more fun to like. It would be nice to speak English so that you get to know different people and then you get to see different cultures and make new friends, you know?
I haven't never been to Europe, so I want to go there. And I want to study English in abroad, and I want to improve my English skill.
And this sounds more typical, but how did English get here? Well, in the year 1600, there was an expedition at sea. Things went wrong, an Englishman was swept ashore, and they thought he was a pirate. But instead of a horrible death, they refused to let him leave and turned him into a samurai. Who says the old days were boring? Yes, of course, it is the awesome accent of the wonderful Japan. By the way, anyone know where speaking English was banned? As in, death to the one wearing eyeglasses? Watch this space.
We like to say one, which actually doesn't mean anything, but we say anyway. An example is that this restaurant, food very nice one. That mountain view very, very pretty one. This girl, this American girl, very chun one. Chun means pretty too.
They have a king, but it's a bit of a Game of Thrones situation. The king doesn't inherit the throne, he gets elected from one of 9 royal houses. And are there scandals galore? You betcha.
Hey, you know Lee Min-ho got girlfriend already? Where God? Who tell you one? My friend is his manager's friend. Huh, like that
But try counting the languages. English has been here since the 18th century, but so have Tamil, Mandarin, Hokkien, Malay, Cantonese, Chinese, and a bunch of Indian languages too. Now throw in more than 60 sub-ethnic groups, and what do we get? 137 living languages under one roof.
Sure lah, don't worry lah, we chillax bro.
Many of their more unusual turns of phrase in English come from direct translations from other languages. But these kids have to learn English at school up to the age of 15 or 16, so I think they get it.
Finish your homework already What's already Die already
What do you say? Indonesian? Nope. The winner is Malaysian.
When I'm studying in the school, my mother find spoken language teachers for me, and I usually have the lessons with him. I go to the USA or UK just for travel. Yeah, I go there for. I usually speak to them, so I'm not afraid.
It is a fascinating, mega diverse country, but off the beaten track. You'll be lucky if you can find anyone who can even say hello in English. Their challenges with pronunciation and English are well known, but who can blame them? Their native language has no plurals, no verb conjugations, no articles.
So instead of saying survive, they will say survive. Your English is very good. I think you are a very handsome man.
And just like Japan, they didn't get off to a good start with English. When the trading ships came along, they couldn't understand each other and got into a firefight, and then lots more firefights. Both parties thought the other's language was horrible, barbaric. Fast forward, and they came up with a weird pidgin so that they could trade, and eventually there were English lessons at school. English was popular for a while, but then it was condemned, and Russian was in, and then English was popular again. And now?
Oh, not good. The vocabulary is a big problem. I see. But after leaving school, there always some chance to read or listen to English.
If you have taught English, be proud of your contribution. And if you haven't guessed yet, well, here's your last clue.
My favorite movie is Zhang Shibang because Zhang Shibang is very handsome.
There's no doubt about it. This is an accent from China, a country itself with many, many different languages and dialects. Do not get too comfy though, there is a real challenge coming.
In the morning, I wear my t-shirt, pants, and I go to school. And I 7 to 11 and come in school. I try my bicycle coming. I like geography. And I like math, geography, science, English. But English, I a little bit I don't know a lot.
Beautiful, right? But not too many people from this country speak English well. For one thing, a third of the population is under 15, and the older generation were taught French. Now, they only started learning English at school after 1988. Before that, it was illegal, and if you taught or learned English, you'd be arrested. Hats off to the rebel teachers who love a good language ban. If you're willing to risk death, you could slip out at 3 a.m. to a secret candlelight English class.
If we go to visit somebody's house, we take off our cap and we take off our shoe. Or when we just met them, like somebody older than us, we take off our cap and say hello.
French suffered the same fate as English, by the way, but if you understood gecko language, that was okay. There's a belief that listening to the chirps of a certain gecko can help you figure out who you should marry. Wherever could you be? Well, it is the cool sound of Cambodia.
I respect a leader who truly respects and appreciates their followers. Appreciating your followers doesn't lower your status or power at all. In fact, it will make the group way stronger.
It's the accent of one of the oldest Asian languages in existence, nearly 2,100 years old. Isn't that mad?
I cannot judge for an absolute value, but I think I studied quite hard in high school.
Actually, my mom really happy to hear it, and my people think, congratulations, that kind of reaction. Yeah.
English arrived in 1883 when the government needed to train interpreters. And if you know what a goose father is, well, you've already got it. And if you don't, well, I'll tell you. In the frenzy to learn English, many families sent their kids abroad to study, and eventually only the dad was left at home. And now there are around 200,000 goose daddies out there.
We don't have chance to actually organize our words to express our thinkings and feelings to, others.
The typical accent starts with a heavy sound, and then you hear this burst of words. Bottom line, English is quite uncomfortable for them to speak. We make so many sounds that don't even exist in their language. They are also not used to being assertive when they speak. Their culture is fairly polite, just like Japan. So when they switch to English, there is a lot of it appears and it seems. And if you haven't guessed yet, well, it's time to turn up the volume.
The party got the right vibes, move like haters.
Well, there you go. It is a South Korean accent. By the way, I'm giving you fair warning. There's an accent coming up that you might fight me on, but I checked this with National Geographic, so we're good. Besides, I always throw in something to get you talking because I know you love a good story as much as I do. After all, here at StoryLearning, we even teach languages through stories, including many of the languages on this list. Stories are such an effective way to learn languages because stories are how we learn most naturally. It is called the StoryLearning method, and if you're curious to see how it works, well, I have prepared a free StoryLearning kit for you where you can get access to masterclasses, materials, even free short stories to find out what the method is all about. Link in the description.
Good morning, sir. Welcome to Bentham Market. What you looking for? What you looking for, sir?
Today I'm on the water. I look for opening so I can go back and swim back to my country because the airport closed down. No more flying.
It is a mysterious land with dramatic history where at least half the people can speak English, but it's super hard for them because their own language is complicated and very different from English. There are tones, intricate sounds, and the accent goes up and down in a completely different rhythm to English. If it were music, it would be staccato.
Hey, do what you say to me like that, do. They talk like that, real fake like do what you say to me like that, do.
Another thing is, in their native language, the final letters of a word are nasal or cut off, so when they speak English, they struggle to pronounce the ends of words.
Group of butterfly, and a funny story, they all start like caterpillar, and they told me that if you feel sometime your life very slow, you feel like caterpillar.
Did you hear it? But here's a curious thing. You find quite a lot of people who speak pretty good French, Russian, and Cantonese. How's that for a combination? Once upon a time, the main foreign language in this country was French, and then it was Russian. Now it's English. But what do they speak at home? Well, the award for coolest alphabet and funnest accent goes to Vietnamese. Now buckle up, because here comes trouble.
In summer, you can enjoy the beach area, the longest Lungamara area, and in the winter, the historical part. And the plus, you can really feel the Italian culture because of its places. You can smell the coffee around the shop.
Is she in Italy? Don't be fooled, she's just visiting, but what an interesting accent. Tricky to pinpoint though, because the ethnic diversity in this part of Asia is staggering, which means I can keep you guessing for a while here.
Because of
quite inefficient education system at our schools. I actually didn't learn anything at school. I learned English when I enrolled to American system-based university here in my city, where all classes were taught in English and I was obliged to learn English. I took some courses and finally I managed learning it.
If you hear a Russian influence, you're not wrong. In 2012, the government of this Asian country launched a clever plot to get everyone fluent in 3 languages by 2050. I approve. 2 of those languages are English and Russian, and they love their English. Make no mistake, it is perceived as a language of prestige. They just need to work on sounding less formal when they speak, I suppose. But try this on for size.
I usually go by bus. Lately, I feel myself more responsible for my life. So I can move around the city alone without any problems.
Well, I see you scratching your head there, so here come the clues. The Soviets used to send dissidents here, and it's one of the only places on Earth where you can find so many different ethnic groups living together out in nature, just sipping their horse champagne.
See yourself, the picturesque panorama, the beautiful nature, and we can do together the camping, we can cook together there in the nature, in the wildlife.
It is a Central Asian country that borders China in the east. The land of the wanderers, it is Kazakhstan. Amazing if you got it right, and you should definitely brag about it in the comments. And now we all want to know what intriguing accent you have, so please share in the comments below. And if I missed an Asian accent that you were hoping for, don't be sad. It's probably in this video right over here.